Welcome back to Business Success. Anneli Blundell has been working with leaders to improve their communication and interpersonal intelligence for about 10 years. She calls herself a people whisperer by trade, but is also a well-known public speaker and mentor to some of the country's top business leaders, such as Telstra, Mercedes-Benz, and the list goes on. She's so passionate about business leadership that she's co-wrote a book about it, and she's here to tell us more. So welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So tell us, what led you to write the book, which I understand you co-authored, called
Correct.
Direct Reports?
Developing direct reports, yep, taking the guesswork out of leading leaders.
Ah, right.
Yes.
So what's the key?
Okay, so what's that really about? Well, the book was written for our clients, leaders who lead leaders, essentially. So what we noticed is that in the workforce, it's too easy to outsource leadership development. So, for example, if you have a, dare I say it, a micromanager, okay? So you've got a leader who's got a team of people and they're suffocating the life out of their people. So it's really easy to say, all right, we need to send this person to, I don't know, a delegation course or something. So we'll ring up HR and send them on a program, outsource the responsibility for their leadership development and expect them to come back nice and fixed and not suffocating their people anymore.
But wouldn't it be fair to say in that situation that we might not have the skills and someone else might have more skills to help develop them?
Yes, potentially, but the power in developing new skills lies not so much in the content but in the application. So where we fall down in leadership development is that we're expecting, because we know better, that we will do better.
And it doesn't necessarily translate.
And it doesn't translate, no, because we're talking about adaptive behaviour change. This is behaviour change that takes hold over time. The brain needs time to adapt, to make new mental maps, for us to embed new habits, new ways of thinking. And just because we've been exposed to the new information, it doesn't mean we can automatically take on those behaviours.
So what is a fair expectation of a time frame for developing a leader?
Okay.
Maybe training them, giving them some new tools, and then at what point should you be saying, well, I'm really expecting you to be implementing those techniques now?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it would change depending on what it was you were developing, who you were developing.
You can't get out of it,
oh no, yes I can. I can sit on this fence because I'm going to. Well, if I take my personal experience in the one-to-one work that I do, so maybe around mentoring or executive coaching, you might look at anywhere from 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, depending, as I said, on the shopping trolley to the shopping list. How much do they want to shift? What are they expecting needs to be different? And how much time do we get together? So when you're developing leadership skills on the job, that direct line relationship between the two parties involved, they've got day-to-day access to conversations. The leader developing their direct report can see what they're doing. They can give lifetime feedback. They can really capture in the moment corrections and feedback. Whereas if you outsource that, even to a coach or to a development program, you don't get the same lifetime opportunity.
So are you saying that for businesses, it's better to develop internally than going externally for training courses, or are you saying don't expect to be able to hire in somebody and then that person solve your management problems?
I'm saying we need to supplement the reliance, or what I see as an over-reliance on outsourcing to development programs and courses, and I don't want to poo-poo that too much because that's part of what I do, so it's important to understand that...
We don't want to can that.
Correct, exactly. There is a place for training programs, absolutely, right? There's some great content and great learning experiences. And we know that 70% of training fails because of the application environment. It's not what you learned, it's what you didn't do when you came back to work.
So what do you do? What's the secret then? You come back into the work environment,
yes,
and then what? How do you suddenly know what to do?
Yeah, well, exactly. So the idea is that your line manager or your direct leadership person, your line manager in this case, is able to have ongoing coaching and performance feedback conversations with you. So if you're working on delegation, as an example, they know you're working on delegation. They're having ongoing, sometimes real-time in the moment conversations, sometimes scheduled conversations to give you feedback, to answer any questions, to check in with how you're going, so that you're able to apply your new knowledge into the application. into the environment.
I've got a question for you.
Shoot.
What about for people who aspire to be leaders within a business and have been given the opportunity but aren't showing all the right characteristics? Is there a point in time where you say, or would you believe nature, nurture? Absolutely, you can make it happen. Or do you say, you know, there does come a point where you go, this person doesn't have leadership capability?
Oh, that's a good question. From our perspective, and certainly this is what we talk about in the book, we believe leadership is learnable.
Right. Okay.
So you can change your spots.
Have you had any hardcore cases?
Yes, hand on heart, absolutely, we all have. So absolutely, and I think it's also a case of not trying to shove a square peg into a round hole, right? So there's got to be a bit of commitment from both sides. So whilst we can invest and develop people, we don't think we need to develop people into areas that they hate. They don't want to be doing.
But couldn't leadership be one of those areas?
It could be.
That they're going into a round hole and they are a square peg?
Yes. Absolutely, and I've had quite a number of conversations with people who are going, for example, down the specialist track, and they've been told, well, you need to build leadership skills now. You can't be a tech specialist forever. You need to sort of, you know, broaden your skill base. You need to learn how to lead people. And part of the conversations with them is to say, is that what you want to do? Because if you want to do that, we can help you build some skills. You may not be the best, but you'll certainly be competent. But do you want to do that?
But say they say yes, but they're hopeless.
They just need more practice.
Really?
Practice, yes, absolutely, 100%. The way that developing habits and behaviours work is really about attention density over time. So this notion of attention density is how much you can focus on something over a sustained period of time again and then again. So it's like if you want to become a marathon runner. I can say, you want to run a marathon? Great. Do you know how to run? Put on your sneakers, you can get on the track? Good. That doesn't make you a marathon runner. What makes you a runner is by doing the time on the track. So you need to build the strength, the muscle, the cardio fitness, and your body needs to get used to being able to run for those long distances. And eventually, you can become a runner. It's the same with these behaviours. If you're focused and committed and you really want the change and you're getting the feedback you need, you're getting the support you need, and you are you're committed to the change, you can develop skills.
See, this is the ultimate accountability for a line manager, because what you're saying is if somebody that's reporting to you isn't performing, it's your fault.
Yes, in a very direct way. We're kind of saying that. Yes. Well, we would say, rather than it's your fault, we would say it's your opportunity.
I'm sure there's better HR words for saying that.
It's a case of it's your responsibility. It is your responsibility to develop people to do the job well, yes. And if part of that means developing leadership skills, then it's your responsibility.
See, I think I'm going to disagree.
All right, go for it. Give it to me.
But isn't it part of it to say, look, I wanted to develop you. I certainly don't want to lose you from the business.
Yes.
And I actually see that your skill sets are better suited over here, so I'm going to nurture you in this other role that doesn't involve leadership.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, absolutely. So the point of the premise of the book and the fact that leadership is learnable and that people can change has to rest on the foundation that the person wants to change and it makes business sense to do that. If you've got 5 people who could be doing this job, don't pick the person who doesn't want to do it, is not at all interested and shows the least amount of aptitude when you've got 4 perfectly good contenders. Yep. But the premise of this is around, the reason we look at derailers as an example, so we're looking at the 12 globally recognised leadership derailers, and there's a whole movement out there at the moment to look and focus on strengths. Yep, so Gallup's done a whole lot of research around strength focus is excellent for developing engagement and performance, and we say yes, and you won't get the best out of a high performance vehicle if you've got 1 foot on the accelerator and 1 foot on the brake. So what we're saying is you can focus on strengths, but if there's something that's actually getting in the person's way, you want to minimise that. You don't have to make it it doesn't have to be their leading capability, but it just needs to not be getting in their way.
And you're saying that that break isn't necessarily just their natural personality or their aptitude for leadership?
Correct. It could be a fact of, it could be a result of they might not want it, they're not motivationally aligned, and often what we find is that because of the way learning works and habits change, and because it's about what you focus on over time, most people are focusing on the tasks of their job. I'm a technical expert, I've done university, now I'm working in this space, I'm an expert in this space. I didn't go to uni to learn people development. That wasn't part of my bag, baby. That's not what I signed up for. And all of a sudden, I'm so good at my job.
I've got enough of my own issues. I don't need to take other people's issues on.
Yes, but what happens is when you're really good at what you do, you rise to the top, and all of a sudden you're required to develop other people to do what you're so good at. And a lot of these technical specialists are not signing up for the people aspect. And it's not because they're not capable. It's because they've just not spent the same amount of time developing those skills as they have in the technical space. So then the question is, do they want it? And if they want it, they can do it with the right support. If they don't want it, I would lead the horse to water. I wouldn't
try and make them do it. I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
And just finally, I just want to ask you, people whisperer, what does that mean?
Ooh, people whisperer. It's a bit of a cheeky term.
It is a bit cheeky.
It is a bit cheeky, yeah. So it really comes from my obsession around decoding people and performance dynamics. So I'm really interested in what happens in the space between people and what are the dynamics that create great performance outcomes and what gets in the way. And so a lot of that has to do with how people show up, how they relate to one another, how they make judgments without even knowing it, that affect the way they then work together. So for me, I like to go in and do a bit of people whispering and find out what's going on.
Well, I suspect that you probably enjoy the challenge of the really difficult people, like the horse whisperer. It's the tricky horses, it's the tricky people.
It is indeed.
But thank you very much for joining me on the program, and all the best with the book, Developing Direct Reports.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Well, that is all from me at Business Success. I trust you have enjoyed the program, gained some ideas, insights, potentially some inspiration to help you on your journey to business success. I will be back with more, same time next week.